Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's YouTube tutorial, what we are going to do is we are going to create a DynamoDB table by using Python Boto3 script. So let's go ahead and jump directly to our editor. So over here, let me create a new file. And table. So this is a Python file. So let's go ahead and jump to console, that is, and search for DynamoDB Boto3. Let's open the official documentation. Okay, so over here we are going to use service resources. So let's click on service resource. Let's copy this. Done. Now over here what we are going to do is we are going to create a table. So let's click on this create table over here and we will go to the documentation. So over here, if you see, this is the syntax. Okay, so what we will do, in the syntax, first check what is required. So if you see, attribute definitions are required, and attribute definition, attribute name, and attribute type. Okay, so let's do one thing. I will just copy this from here, paste. Okay, now let's define key schema. Sorry, first we will create the table name over here. It is taken like this. Okay, table name. After taking the table name, we will go back, and over here we are going to take schema. So let's take schema, key schema. Okay, so over here we would be defining the attribute name. So this attribute name that we are mentioning over here, I will just remove this. I'm going to create a hash key, and this is going to be our partition key. Or so we are only going to create a partition key in this example. Okay, so that's done. So this is done. Key schema. Now after key schema we will go with attribute definition. So this is the attribute definition over here. Let's just copy paste it from here. So attribute definition. So over here what would be our partition key? I will say for our, first of all, our table name would be employee. Okay, and what we are going to keep the primary key or the partition key, it would be employee ID. That would be, we will just define it as ID, and this ID should be a number. So over here I will again write ID, and as you can see we have three options: string, number, and boolean. So we are just going to keep number over here. That's it. Now we will go and add the provision throughputs. Okay, so the provision throughputs are over here. Now let's go ahead and print the table status, comma. So over here table dot table underscore status. From where I identified the table status, let me show you over here in the documentation. If you see, if we go down, so the value which get returns, it will return the DynamoDB table, and in that DynamoDB table it will also return you the table status. So let's go back to our code. So over here what we have done, we have invoked the resource over here, Boto3 resource. Then after invoking this resource, we are going to use the function that is create table. In create table, what we are doing, first we are defining the table name, then we are defining the key schema. So the key schema, we have just kept the partition key, which is ID. Then we have gone to attribute definitions. What is attribute definition? The key schema that we have defined over here, it is the same, just we are giving the attribute type of that key schema that we have defined. So we have kept it as number, so it will accept numbers. So now I will just go back to my AWS management console, and I will show you if this specific table exists. Tables. So guys, as you can see, DynamoDB table does not exist over here. I will change it to US East 1. Okay, so there is one table which is guest book. So now we are going to create a new table which would be employee. So let's go ahead and run the code. Table status creating. So if I go over here and I refresh it, you can see the table is created. So the table is created with the partition key that we have defined over here. But if you want to add the sort key over there, so what you will have to do is you will have to just copy paste this same thing over here, define one more key schema and make that key schema as sort key. And once you define that sort key over here, make sure to define that in the attribute definition also. So that's it for this session, guys. See you in the next session where we will insert items to the table that we have created.